Welcome back to the channel. This is Bro Full Curl Precision again. Oop, there we go. And just kind of doing a little video demonstration of what I consider the differences between cartridges and caliber comparison and matching it to your game. Now, this is going to kind of, obviously it's not accurate in the full sense, but it kind of gives an idea of cavitation. I've mentioned it before. Some people are all cavitation that doesn't exist. Yeah, well, I've never dropped a deer in its tracks with a bow. They always run. But I've dropped plenty of animals with a rifle in their tracks with the exact same shot placement. So cavitation doesn't exist. I don't believe that. Now, is it the end all be all? No, because there are anomalies. It all depends on a number of factors, including how much they are in rut, the size of the animal, different things like that. But cavitation, also known as hydrostatic shock, is a thing. And I'm going to demonstrate that. I'm using a 270 and a 243. Let me turn the camera around. You'll see what I mean. So I have different size bottles. All right. So you have these basic juice bottles. That's going to represent basically the size of the lungs that you would expect on something like a pronghorn or a small deer. These are going to be closer, because those are 2 liters and those are gallons. Those are going to be closer to what you would expect out of a good sized whitetail or mule deer as far as your lungs. And then here's 5-gallon jugs. And these are going to basically represent about the size of the lungs you would expect on an elk. Now, I know they're obviously not exact size, but they are different sizes. So how the bullet is going to respond to these is going to be different. Now, you're not going to see much of a difference between the small ones. It's when you get to those. So what I'm going to do is start with the 243, shoot one set, and then I'm going to alternate. So 243, 270, 243, 270, 243, and 270. And yeah, you will see a difference in how those bottles react to being shot. So walking down, and I'm going to let my wife hold the camera and zoom in. And like I said, we're going to alternate. So don't think this is going to be some rapid fire thing. I'm taking one at a time and doing it the right way. So here we go. Let me hand her off the camera. Here we go. There we go. And it's still recording, and it's supposed to. So let me get these off of her shoulder. I'm going to set up my earmuffs here, because I like to have eardrums. Okay. Adjust my zoom because I don't need all that much zoom. And so yeah, we're going to start from the left side. And we're going to start with a 243 and then swap to 270, 243, 270, and we're just going to alternate. And so you're going to see the difference in cavitation on these bottles as I shoot them. So if you wouldn't mind getting on those bottles, I'm going to start from the left side. And just let me know when you're ready. Okay. All right. So pretty violent, as it's supposed to be. Like I said, they're not very big, so that'd be like shooting a pronghorn. And you're going to see that there's not much of a difference between these two on something that's medium game. It's when they start getting the larger game where you're going to start seeing the difference. Okay, next set. All right, next set. All right, next one's not to mention it's a whole lot of fun to shoot these bottles. It's not like they were getting used for anything else. This is where you're going to start seeing the difference, though. Is imagine you're shooting something like a cow elk or even a bull elk. This is where you're going to see the big difference. Okay, so I want to clarify a couple differences between these two bullets. The 243 is using a 90 grain Sierra Game Changer, also known as a TGK. For my 270, I'm using a 150 grain Nosler AccuBond long range. But the explosion off the second one that I shot was considerably larger than that, especially on the 5 gallons. Again, it's not that the 243 can't be used on elk, but is it going to do as good of a wound channel or kill it as fast as a 270 or 30-06? No. And that's the point. The cavitation effect off of a larger diameter bullet going at good velocities is going to do far more internal damage and therefore putting an animal down. So, can any cartridge, is shot placement the king? Yes. But is it everything? No. The larger case that you can comfortably shoot with a larger bullet that's doing the job is the right choice. So I'm not saying you have to go out and select a 300 Remington Ultra Mag or a 338 Lapua. But if you can comfortably go to something like a 270, 30-06, or even a hot load out of a 308, as opposed to something like a 243, especially when you're hunting larger game like elk or moose, go for it. That's the best thing you can do. At the end of the day, hunting is supposed to be about putting the animal down as fast as possible. Obviously, again, shot placement is going to be the most important. But as you saw in the video, the cavitation effect of what a larger diameter bullet does is going to have a tremendous effect on how fast that animal goes down. So that's all we have for today. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, and thank you, and thank you, and thank you.